Welcome to Conversations with a Couple of Crones. We invite you to join us as we gather around our hearth and talk about our journeys with the Gene Keys and our personal transformations.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 9, I think we're on to now, aren't we, Meghan?
We are.
Of Conversations with a Couple of Crones. And Meghan and I are absolutely delighted this week to be welcoming on our very good friend, Esther Vis, to join us. We've been wanting to get Esther on for ages. We knew when we first started talking about having guests on the podcast, you were definitely on the list, Esther. So Esther, like us, has a deep passion for the Gene Keys. And I believe you're a Gene Keys guide now as well, aren't you, Esther? You've
Yes.
been through the guides program.
Yes.
And like us, she's traveled her golden path several times, and also like us, she's currently traveling the Sage's journey. You're actually doing two golden paths in parallel because you're doing Devoted, aren't you, and the Sage's journey. But the topic we want to talk about today is the dream arc, which I bow down to Esther and Meghan because I am in the presence of two dream arc geniuses here. You both have this just amazing gift for working with the dream arc animals and for just interpreting and for seeing the wisdom there. Yes, we've got a very exciting. Meghan set us a task, which I'll let Meghan talk about, which has actually proved to be very illuminating for me and quite incredible. So, but before we get into that, Esther, would you like to just introduce yourself and just say a few words about who you are and where you are?
Yes, thank you so much. I am so excited to have this conversation with the both of you. I have so much gratitude and inspiration for the both of you. You really inspire my own path into this deep contemplative inner journey. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm Esther. I'm 34 years old and I live together with my husband in all but license. So we're not married. And our 4-year-old daughter in a small town near Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And yeah, I've been loving the inner journey for a long, long time. I think I've started it 10 years ago as a way to finding my way back to myself, like most of us have started the journey inward. But I was looking for outward sources to tell me who I am. And it was really this outside in process. So what happened that I fell into one distraction into the other. I read heaps of books. I've been reading a lot of articles, listening to podcasts, but I never slowed down enough to integrate all the wisdom or even ask myself, like, is this resonating for me? Until I found the Gene Keys in 2023 and just reading The Shadow of My Life's Work Gene Key, The Shadow of Distraction, this wonderful, glorious inner bump truth just exploded within my soul. And at the end of 2023, I committed into this strange transmission without barely even knowing where I said yes to. And it has changed my world. Like Lizzie already told you all, I've been traveling the Golden Path several times. The first time I did it all by myself without any guidance or without a group because I wanted to prove myself that I am empowering myself to find myself without outsourcing this inner empowerment to someone else. And I really loved this journey and I love the Gene Keys so much that I also went to the Gene Keys guide program and I'm an official guide since 2025. So since August 2025, so almost a year. And I've been having a wonderful blast with especially the archetypical language and work it's the first time I found a system that is expansive enough to hold my very changeable nature. I have like this 3.3, so a line of change in the gene key of change in my radiance, so in my health. And archetypes change with me. I love the personal relationship we have with them. And that's also why I love the dream arc. I entered the dream arc almost immediately after I stepped into the Gene Keys worlds, because I read the fear key of the sea urchin that's connected to Gene Key 56 with the shadow of destruction. And it's the fear about being human. And I immediately saw that this is like this extra layer of working with the vast expansiveness of the archetypes of the Gene Keys world. And I never looked back. I've been deeply, deeply immersed into the wisdom. And yeah, I really love it.
Wonderful.
I love that so much. And because all of us are so deeply, we do the inner work all the time, every day, right? And we all take all of our challenges that come to us from the outer world and reflect inwardly as to, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? And then I thought, so when we were getting ready for this podcast, I thought, okay, so Esther and I have this dream arc connection, and I know Lizzie owns the dream arc. And I thought, what if a week before we have this podcast, we go to the Dream Arc Oracle, and the Dream Arc Oracle has all 192 animals on it, and it will give us an animal if we ask the question, right? What is the issue in my life? That was the thing I asked you guys to do. What is the issue in my life I want to look at? And then use the Dream Arc Oracle to come up with a guide from the Dream Arc world. So that's what we did earlier this week. We each picked an animal, and we're each going to tell you the issue that we wanted to look at through the lens of this animal, or with the guidance of this animal, and then what the animal was that came to us. And I believe Lizzie's going to start us off.
Okay, so I asked a question which has been it's been in my mind a lot lately, because of I've been having quite a lot of issues with pain and stiffness and like hip issues and knee issues. And I'd actually asked Haley in our held call on Monday about this. So the question I sat with was for guidance. I wasn't looking for an answer. I just wanted some guidance around this fear I have of aging. I'm 63 in a few weeks' time, and this fear I have of dying, which has been a fear that has walked with me for a long time and which has come up again and again in my Gene Keys journey. So I hadn't used the Oracle myself before. I've had animals that Haley had picked using the Oracle when we were doing Devoted. So this is my first time of actually asking a question and clicking on the Oracle, and I got the toad, which is the fear key for Gene Key 57, and it is the fear of the unknown. And immediately, I mean, I had never read the Toad before. I didn't know anything about its wisdom. I think I'd looked at Gene Key 57 in one of our Gene Key study guides when it was the Journey Home. So I knew a little bit about it from the past, but I wasn't really familiar with the Gene Key. But I felt an immediate resonance. I had a quick glance through it, and Toad basically tells you, I'm going to help you look at this fear of dying. And the fear of the unknown is the fear of dying. So I just wanted to read a little bit about that Toad says right at the beginning. It says, do not uncover me lightly. In fact, I urge you strongly to consider putting me back under the unconscious rock where you found me. Only the inwardly strong may work with me. So, but I read that and I did not feel one iota of fear about working with the toad, even though it's about fear. And my question was about fear, because I know that I am inwardly strong. I've been doing this work for a really long time, and I've been doing this Gene Keys work for over 3 years now. And since we moved into the sage, and Richard Rudd gave us these wonderful sage words, from the very first moment when I got my sage word for my life's work of interiority, it was like, there's my whole life in one word. I am not afraid of going into my interior world. I am not afraid, you know, of looking under this rock. And this is why I asked the question. Um, so I wasn't put off. I wasn't put off by Toad's warning at all. And in fact, I actually really loved the fact that Toad says to learn toad medicine is to live intensely. And isn't that exactly what I have been saying that I want? I've been saying it since my first ever one-to-one with Haley, when we looked at my life's work the very first time. It was like, I want to suck the marrow out of life. I want to live intensely. I I don't want to be afraid of dying. I don't want to fritter away, as Toad puts it. I don't want to fritter away my precious life force worrying about something that is actually inevitable for all human beings. We are all going to die. And if we're lucky enough, we're all going to age, and so it really, immediately it was resonating with me, but I have sat with it. I've been journaling on it every day for the last week, just going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And I could not, if I had sat, I don't know, I haven't read all 192 animals, but I feel like I could not have picked a more perfect animal for me, not just for this question, but for where I am in my life at the moment, because the toad is all about stillness. Toad says Toad spends a great deal of time in stillness, and stillness, as you two know, was one of the words I chose to travel with this year. And in fact, I'm going to be traveling with that word for the whole of the Sage's journey. And because it was something that I really wanted to bring in. And I know that you and I talked about stillness, Esther, because I know it's really important to you as well. And and I and I've realized that even though I've had this word, stillness, there, it's on my board and I've been thinking about it every day. It's on my screensaver for my laptop. Even though I've been doing all this really deep interior work, I haven't actually been very still. It's been quite active in our work. It's been very, almost frenetic, you know. I like both of you, just have absolutely loved the Sage and the intensity, but it just, I've just kind of hurled myself into it, and there hasn't been a lot of stillness. And I just thought, how perfect that Toad hopped into my life right now, this week before we move into the Venus stream. And the Venus is really deep, deep work. And Toad says, I'm not interested in what's on the surface. Toad doesn't care about my aging body and my wrinkles and all my mental shit. Toad is interested in what lies beneath, and that's what the Venus journey is about. And it just feels so completely perfect. I honestly, I think I've said to Meghan, I don't know how many times this week, I am so glad that you set us this task, because it's just so completely perfect. And I was thinking about this word stillness, and I remembered, I did this retreat at a Tibetan Buddhist Sangha years and years ago, when I had first started doing the inner work. Actually, I first started journaling, and I remember listening to this lesson by Sogyal Rinpoche, who wrote the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. And he was talking about stillness. And he was saying, all this busyness that you have in your mind is like a glass of muddy water. And you are never going to be able to see through it. It is always going to be muddy until you are still. Let that glass be completely still, and the mud will settle to the bottom, and you will be able to see through it with clarity. And that, to me, I mean, I thought of that when I was thinking about Toad's lesson and thinking about how perfect it was. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I have written pages and pages and pages about this. I could talk. I could probably talk for a whole hour just about this, but um, I'm not gonna. I will be quiet now. I will be still and let you guys go. Because for a creature that is inviting me into stillness, it has filled me with so much excitement because it just feels so right. When something is right, it's so exciting. So yeah, so I am now traveling with Toad. Toad is coming along with me on the whole Venus sequence now, and there's no discussion about it. Toad is here, whether I
So
like it or not, and I
how,
am going to face that fear of the unknown.
how is Toad then actually answering your question about growing older? Basically, the Toad is saying, you don't need to worry about that, or
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's this thing, I can't remember the exact words, but basically, Toad is saying, don't worry. Stop. Toad is telling you to stop worrying about future events. It's telling you to stay in the moment. That is how I interpreted it. It's like, you can't fritter away this precious energy you've got in the now worrying about what is going to happen in the future.
gotcha, got
It's
it.
all, this now is what, and it's interesting as well because there's something that I can't remember. As I say, I can't remember the exact words, but um, it's kind of like stop worrying about the past and stop worrying about the future. And it was one of the things that I'd said to Haley when I asked her for some guidance around this, fear of aging and fear of dying and fear of running out of time. And I said, there's so much anger in me over how much time I wasted. I wasted so much time on people who frankly didn't deserve me. I wasted so much time on trivial stuff that didn't deserve my time. And she said, but aren't you just wasting time? She said it much more nicely than that. But she basically said, aren't you wasting time in the present moment, worrying about time that you wasted in the past? So now you're wasting time twice. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah. And it was pretty much exactly, reading between the lines of the message from Toad was exactly that. Like, why are you wasting your time on worry and stress when you
Yeah.
just need to be still and go inside?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do.
And I love that Toad is committed to the Venus sequence with you. I have a
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it really feels like it. It feels like well, Todd talks about intuition a lot.
yeah,
It's about following your intuition without hesitation is Toad's
yeah,
message. And my intuition told me this creature is here for a reason,
yeah.
and it's not just about this question, this fear that you've got now. It's because you're gonna need this companion for this really deep work you're about to step into.
Wow.
Is how it feels to
I,
me.
I love how the dream arc animals do that.
Yeah,
There's just a knowing within you that, oh, okay, they're here now. They're going to be here for this, that we're committed. We're partners for
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's really amazing. So anyway, I will be still. And I'll let Esther tell us about the creature that came to her.
Ah, yes, and I'm so happy, Lizzie, that you paved this beautiful way. Because the struggle, the issue that I came up with is that I struggle a lot with my day job, with being, for my idea, like stuck in a job that I don't love, that is not where my soul is calling me to be, but not knowing how to get out of it. And in the past, I've been talking with Meghan about it, and I have Jinky 50 in my purpose. And Jinky 50 is about corruption moving into equilibrium, into harmony. And its dilemma is specificity and resignation, like not doing anything. And I have all this stuckness. And in Devoted, I am already in the Venus stream. I am currently contemplating the attraction sphere, and I have Jinky 52. That's all about stress and restraint and stillness. Yeah. And so I'm right, like still in this pathway of Dharma, in my destiny, and I felt so stuck for years. Honestly, I've been in this job for 2.5 years, and I committed to this job with the intention of I am going to get rid of the karma of what is ever going on in my work life, because I don't have much joy in my work life. I mean, there's a lot of challenge and a lot of growth, but it's so intense. And yeah, I've been struggling a lot with knowing the balance of keeping still and actually moving forward, trusting in the passivity and coming into action. And yeah, I think it's 9 months ago that something happened at work and I was just done with it. It was like, I'm going to quit and that's it. But I have a family and I do need an income in order to provide for for all the cost of just being human, living in this world where money still is a big deal. And yeah, I've been contemplating it. It's 4 years now, or at least like, yeah, since the moment I got this job actually. And then it's really in the forefront for the last 9 months and in Devoted, and it's still taking up so much time. Even though I'm in the Venus stream that's about my primary relationship, I'm still contemplating a lot of work, and somehow I am not able to shift. So that's the energetic question I put out to the Dream Arc Oracle, and I got the toad. And at first I thought, what is a weird glitch of the Dream Arc Oracle? Because what are the chances of the 192 animals I could receive? I'm receiving the same as Lizzie. And at the same time, I think it's perfect for this episode as well, because the way I'm working with the toad is completely different.
Yeah.
So even though I am a journaler, I haven't journaled a lot with the toads. So what I've done is I've just read it. I read through it. I already kind of knew this animal because it's always also Richard Rudd kin.
Yes.
And I knew it's related to Jinky 57. So I knew it was about unease and intuition. But that was basically all I did to study the material. I have a first line in my life's work as Lizzie, so most of the time I really dive deep. But here I was basically like standing in my life, and through intuition, I came across the Heavenly Bodies deck from Lily Asheville, and it's an astrology deck. And I never really played with astrology yet, but I've been into archetypes. Astrology, like the Gene Keys, is a language of archetypes, and I've been playing with the deck, and the first points where it led me to was looking at the North and the South Node, and some of you may know it from Human Design. And in the way Lily Asheville teaches it, it's your destiny. So I'm in this pathway of Dharma and Devoted, and I was first looking at my basically my destiny. And what came up was that like my issues with work it was there. It was destined for me to release the negative karma and my shadows and my attachment to this field of work where I've been comfortable in past lives. In this life, I'm meant to shed it, which is really interesting by itself because I've been contemplating like, should I put my motherhood more into the contemplative middle of this journey, but then work is still there. So I felt not seen because I already see myself, but I find it fascinating that this topic where I'm so struggling was reflected back to me from a completely different perspective. And then, yeah, something really interesting happened because last Wednesday, it was already late in the evening. My boyfriend, it's a bit crazy to refer to him as my boyfriend, but my partner, the love of my life, he went to bed and I stayed on the couch and I felt myself being pulled into the destruction. And I've been doom scrolling on Substack and YouTube and whatever. But I also felt this pain that I was desperately trying to hide away from, like hide within my distraction. But I know, like, in order to cut out of the distraction, I should stop and let in the pain. So after a couple of hours of doom scrolling, I actually almost like threw my phone to the side and instead of, well, it's not completely on the side because I started voice messaging a friend in Devoted, and I just started talking about the distraction and what was happening, and I felt these emotions rise. And after that voice message, I really put away my phone and I sat with all the unease of the thoughts. And I had this big emotional breakdown. And it was like the story with the frog prince, but then with the toad prince, like this big golden ball arose from the depth, this intuitive notions like, Esther, it's time to stop. And I was freaked out by it because I've been fantasizing about quitting my job for a long time now. And I don't have a new job offer yet, which means that if I were to quit my job, I had to throw out all social securities. I was really facing the unknown because I have no idea what's going to happen. But there was this deep, deep, deep inner wisdom rising, like stepping forward, like, Esther, it's time to quit your job. So it was already past midnight and I went upstairs and Darren was already asleep. And I basically told him, like, almost like waking up, like, Darren, I really want to quit. And he was like, and sleeping. And then I lay in my bed, like I couldn't sleep. I was just staring in the dark, into the void, like literally surrounded in embraced by the darkness. And I start having this conversation with the universe. It's like, universe, if you want me to do this, if you want me to follow my body's intuition, you better have my back. And I was just like I knew what I was meant to do. So I woke up, I think, after 2 hours of sleep, and these big intense feelings, they were just floating away. But I vividly remembered the experience of the night.
Yeah.
So I knew I had two choices. Either I would fall back in victimhood and in fear and stay passive, or I would actually put action, that's like initiative that comes out intuition. And now I say it is the programming partner of Gene Key 57, like the gift of initiative in Gene Key 51. And Darren finally woke at 6:15 in the morning. And again, it was like, Darren, I want to quit. And we had this conversation. And I went into my job and just like step by step, actually, like I told my manager, like, I'm going to quit. And he asked me, are you sure? Are you really sure? He asked me 3 times, like, yes, I'm going to do it. Being super scared, again, like facing the unknown, but there was this deeper calm and trust that this is actually the right time, because I've tried heaps of times to actually do it and I couldn't. And now there was this momentum. And I told my manager and I put everything to HR and I officially quit my job. Like it's,
Wow.
oh my gosh. And both of you know how much this,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big
Wow.
deal. It's a really big deal. And yeah, the totally is a changer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I never really got like these kind of stories in relation to the dream arc, because I've been traveling with tricksters and with leapers and nothing happened.
Uh,
But underneath, like in the inner world, a lot of things happen
yeah.
until it's like divine timing for it to actually manifest in the outside world. And yeah, I can still, I'm pinching myself. Like, is this real? It's only a couple of days old, but I feel so whole. Like my inner and outer worlds are more into alignment. Like, because I said this is not for me and I was still doing it. And now I'm saying this is not for me and I actually stopped. I am in this
Wow.
gift of enrichment, stopping what is no longer serving me. It's something the Toad clearly like speaks into. It says, let me see. Yeah, to say no and to cut away the attachment that pollutes my body, because there was so much stress in there. Like, stress is this shadow that comes up when I move out of harmony with nature. So
Yeah.
I already knew, but yeah, the
Yeah.
toad really helped me to take the initiative and to, yeah, and to stop, to quit
It,
and face the
there's that
unknown.
there's that bit in the Toad. I just absolutely love it. It means to consider your every action in your environment, save energy, build power, and wait for your moment to sing. And just when you were talking, I was just like, it's her moment to sing. That's it. That's what
Yeah,
it is. It's
yes.
the time is right. Oh, that is amazing. It's oh wow.
Exactly. Oh, and I'm so excited and I'm so scared and I'm so deeply trusting the universe and being human and getting all of it. And I think that's a beautiful paradox of this inner world. It's not either or, it's and
Yes.
daring to stay with myself in the
Yeah.
face of the unknown, in the face of fears, and actually saying to myself, I am safe to
Yeah.
allow the shadow in. And in my big dark night, I told myself, like, as you are safe, I've got you, I've got you. And I just cried happy tears, like
Mm.
I've got myself. And yeah, it's been, I'm really
Wow.
grateful for this, like, supposedly like fun exercise. I didn't
I know.
imagine that it would literally change my life. And I think that's the power of working with the dream arc. It definitely can completely surprise you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and the whole Lizzie was even talking about this morning to me on Voxer, the whole synchronicity. Once you enter this inner world in with the gene keys and you start really doing the work, that miracle field opens up and synchronicities of
Yes.
timing occur. Yes, I very lightly said, "Oh, let's go to the dream arc, oracle for this podcast." But it has shifted both of your lives
Yeah.
enormously.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, cool. To put it very tritely.
Yeah. The power of play.
Yes, the
The
power of
power of
play.
play.
And then that we even recognize the synchronicity is delicious as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
to make it like even more mind-blowing, and I was talking with Haley about it, like it's now the current Gene Key Pulse 16 that's all
yes,
about
yes,
indifference and like
that's
being
right.
too lazy to actually make the steps and to get into this gift of versatility and like having this polymath gift. And this Gene Key sits in my SQ, in my spiritual quotient. So it's my inner child.
Oh,
And I realized that my last working day will be in the pulse of Jinky 52, in the attraction Jinky I am now in. And like
yes,
you can't make this stuff up.
you can't. I
You
know.
can't. It's so beautiful. It's really amazing.
Oh, oh, oh,
Wow.
oh, oh. Wow, I feel so privileged to have this information on our podcast. I feel like you came
I
out.
know. So much for a playful exercise, Megan.
I know.
Let's have
I
some
know.
fun with the dream arc and just completely change the whole trajectory of your life.
It's a casual day in the lives of a couple of
Yeah.
crowns and going to be.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly
Um,
how to follow that, other than I just have to tell my story. But that was definitely a very powerful share. Thank you. Thank you, Esther, for sharing it here on our podcast. Well, of course, I set it up, but still, I mean, and what amazing, how amazing it is to feel the synergy of that kind of thing, and the synarchy of, because we were having a podcast and then I came up with an idea, and then you just happened timing wise to be ready for this to come out, with the help of Toad,
Exactly. Yeah,
I love it.
especially if you think that we rescheduled our call
That's
and
right. We
it
rescheduled the call,
no.
didn't we? Yes.
yeah, divine timing. It's beautiful.
Oh,
Really
Yeah.
cool.
cool. All right. So the question I decided to ask, um, where am I? I'm deliciously invested in Esther's story here. But I was pondering last weekend. I knew I was going to be picking an animal on Monday. And I was pondering, what issue have I got? And I didn't have any heavy duty issues on my plate. But I have this Instagram account, right? And it's there have been crickets there. All I've been sharing have been the things we've been putting on the cauldron of Crones, which are delicious, but they're not my own personal, stuff on my Instagram account. And I thought, maybe I should boost that a little. And then I was realizing we're going into the purpose sphere next within the Venus sequence. And, I've just spent a whole month there already. How could I invigorate that? And so I started putting together some information about the purpose sphere and generating some prompts. And I went, oh, I could ask for help in a creative project around, that I could put on Instagram that would help me with my purpose sphere, so the purpose sphere won't be boring this time. It's my fourth time through the Venus sequence, and the purpose sphere you do twice anyway, the activation and the Venus. And, I need a little of, I wanted to invigorate my my Instagram account, my purpose sphere, and maybe do something creative. So I went to the Oracle deck, and the Oracle, I was the last one to do it, right? And I'm going, okay, let's hope this is not broken, because hopefully I won't get the toad. so, so I went to the Oracle, DreamArc Oracle, and I got the Parrot. Now the Parrot is Jinky 42, and it's the vision of jubilant celebration. And the I didn't explain this to anyone who doesn't know the dream arc well, but there are underworld creatures who are all about your fears, and that the toad is one of those. There are middle world creatures, so those would be the mammals, like you mentioned, the tricksters. And I know you were traveling with the raccoon. No, yes, is that right? The raccoon, and then with the warrior, Esther, you were traveling with a skunk. Those are both mammals, right?
Yeah, I've been traveling with raccoon the previous time, and the last time I traveled with coyote.
Coyote, that's right, that's right. I traveled with a raccoon last year. So anyway, mammals. But then the birds are the vision keys. So those would be the Siddhic level. So we have, you two were in the shadows and the underworld, and I picked a Siddhic creature. And the parrot is this beautiful energy that is full of celebrating. I was listening today to the audio for 42, and Richard talks about that we have a tendency in our world to celebrate beginnings or celebrating endings. You know, a funeral or a bar mitzvah is the beginning of manhood, or quinceaneras, the birth of a child. He said celebration is about celebrating the middle, celebrating the every bit of your life. So right now we are celebrating that Lizzie is frickin' aging, and she is so lucky that she has lived to this stage that she can celebrate aging. And we are celebrating, well, this is a newness for it's an ending and a beginning for Esther. We're celebrating that. But I'm also just celebrating that I want to do a creative project. You know, I'm celebrating that. And all of a sudden with the parrot, out came this celebratory creative project that I'm doing on Instagram. That's the parrot has informed me, just like the toad did to you, Lizzie, that that the parrot's going to be with me for the whole Venus sequence. So, like it or not, but the creative project is going to be it. It started out with just me thinking, maybe I'll just do a video on some of the questions I've curated for the purpose sphere. That's how it began. So I've got all these questions about the purpose sphere. I'll just do a quick video for Instagram for that. And then it went, but wouldn't it be cool if I also did a index card art journal project, a little bit of a process video? Oh, that might be fun. And then it was, oh, I could do a slideshow too. So this last week, with the parrots' fresh energy into my purpose, I did an intro week doing a slideshow, doing a spoken video answering one of my questions, and then I did an art process video, and they're all there on my Instagram account. And then the project got bigger, and I added something to my course that is in GKU on playful pondering, doing yet another. I now have 2 index cards from this week with questions from my purpose sphere. And so it's like, my purpose is this gentle mildness, it's Gene Key 37, and it's the strength and power of tenderness, right? So there's this gentle softness that this whole project is starting in, with this bold, colorful, jubilant, celebrating creature, the parrot. And they've been married into the project, which is called Gentle Purpose Bright Wing. And that's when, after I'd done a couple of pieces of it this week, the parrot came in and said, okay, now we're doing it for every sphere of the whole Venus sequence. So you're going to be making these for the next 6 months. And I'm going, what? I don't know if I can commit to that, but I don't know if you guys remember, but at the beginning of the year, one of the things I wanted to up-level was my creativity. And this is freaking up-leveling my creativity to to come to this project. Now I have to admit my radiance of Gene Key 40 is saying, do you have the energy? Do you have the commitment? Do you have the resolve to do this? So that's kind of why I experimented this week to make sure that I do. And I do. I do have it. And the parrot's just coming in here going, well, if you don't 1 week, we'll celebrate that. And we will just be honest about it. And that's okay too. If you're sick for 2 weeks during the 6 months, big deal. You'll make a video about that and say, or a slideshow, or you just won't show up. And that's okay too. Just celebrate wherever you are in the process. So, yeah. I wrote a little bit of something that the parrot was, because it's how do you marry information from this archetypal energy of the parrot, or in your case, the toad? How do you marry that to exactly to the situation you're in? Or for me, it's the creative project. How do you put those two things together, right? So I said, for me, the parrot reminds me that inner work does not have to be separate from delight, beauty, or celebration. I mean, so often, you had a breakthrough this week, Esther, right? That didn't
Yeah,
necessarily feel incredibly wonderful to sit with your unease, to sit with that stress, right?
that's
But
true.
then look at the celebration it brought you to, the celebration of making the choice that was important for you right now.
Yeah.
That's really what the parrot's saying, you know. Don't forget that part of it. Don't forget that celebratory part. So anyway, yeah, that's that was a totally different experience than you two having. I can't believe that you both got the toad. And I loved listening to the two different ways you guys worked with the toad. And this
Yeah.
is so important for anybody in the dream arc. This is such a right-brained feminine transmission, and working with each of the animals has to be intuitive because it's your journey. And Lizzie went on a very deep journaling journey doing this, and Esther went on an intuitive, oh, that's the message of the toad, and then let it filter through her without going through her mind first. And both are incredibly perfect for each of you. And I did somewhere in between. I read the parrot, I brought in the energy of the parrot, and then just kind of mixed that with the project, but then let it birth what got birthed for me. And yeah, now the parrot's a laugher, but in truth, she very gently totally shifted the trajectory of the next 6 months of my life. You know, I haven't been putting anything in Instagram for months and months and months. Now I'm going to be posting 3 times a week, at least, and putting things in my course and putting the same stuff on YouTube. So yeah, laughing all the way.
And and your celebration and your laughter is infectious because, like you said, because Megan and I talk every day on Voxen. And like you said earlier, Megan, I came to this place this week where I was celebrating the fact that I'm aging.
Oh my God, that's
This
so,
thing that I've
yeah.
been so afraid of, and it's felt, especially these last few weeks where my joints have been really painful, and I have been a little bit wallowing in the muddy water of the victim, poor me. But then I thought, well, I'm not going, no, I need to celebrate the fact that my dad was only 42 when he died. I've already lived half his lifetime again, and I'm celebrating the fact that I'm aging. And even that, just having you talk about the celebratory energy of the parrot shifted that for me, that I'm celebrating. And what we were talking about in our held group, celebrating the fact that we are crones. Why should I be afraid and stressed about aging when I'm a crone now? You know, and all of this has happened because we are celebrating the fact that we are in our crone years and that we don't care what people think of us. We're going to make a website. We're going to do a podcast. We're going to do whatever we're going to do, and we're going to have fun. Yeah, we're having fun, and it feels like we celebrate all the time, Meghan. We celebrate each other all the time because we're constantly having this conversation where it's like, oh my God, this thing has just happened, and this is what's happened, and this is what I've understood, and oh my God, look at this. I've realized something that, I didn't realize before, and I've had this insight, and everything's a celebration. We're celebrating the journey that we're on, and the place that we're at, and the place we're going to.
Yeah.
Celebrate all of it. So it's been quite, your parrot energy has been quite infectious this week.
Yeah, definitely. Like the parrots also flew into my life because Darren knew I was going to quit, and that evening he came home and he brought like the celebration cake, and he put on candles on it, spelling "Happy Day." So we were celebrating this ending and new beginning, and yeah, like coming back to like celebrating aging, like having you as a role model. I mean, I'm half your age. I'm at the beginning still of my journey, and it makes me so excited to grow older. I'm like so looking forward to it, and it really puts me into the ease of that. It's perfectly fine where I am right now. I shouldn't be anywhere else, or I've done more than I thought I would be, because I see how rich your life is where you are, and it just paves this way for and like my generation, and like the women between us or even younger than I am, that it's safe to grow old, and you never stop learning, and you'll always be this inner child, right? And you are such
absolutely
beautiful role models for that, and I'm so grateful to know you, and yeah, that I can definitely feel inspired by your journey
Thank
as
you.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the there's so many amazing things about having Meghan as a best friend, but one of the greatest gifts she has given me is play. She brings play into so much, and we can be having, I mean, all of our conversations that we have, on Voxer every day, they're always really deep. This is like really deep shit we're talking about here. We are diving into that void, but we're laughing, we're crying, but we're laughing, and we're making each other laugh, and we're laughing at ourselves, and we're laughing at the synchronicity of everything, and we're having fun. I mean, like those index card art that Meghan held up there. I started doing her playful pondering, and I'm now completely addicted to it. It's like my new addiction. I don't have time to do it in the week because I'm journaling and then I'm getting ready and going out to work. But on the weekends now, it's become part of my practice. Is that I'll do this like deep, intense work in the pages of my journal, and then I play with glue and bits of paper and pictures and making little cards that, they're never going to be in an art gallery, but they make me really happy.
Yeah, I always fall in love with my own art every time I make one. That's why they're sitting right here. I'm going, this is what I made this week. I love you.
Oh, so beautiful. Really love it.
And I love the fact that we got two toads and a parrot. It's just so perfect that we got two toads. how completely perfect for both of us. And then Meghan flying in with her celebration. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
perfect.
perfect. When now you say it, it perfectly reflects again the lines in our life's work. Like Megan in her
Yeah.
sixth
Sure.
visionary line, and you and I, Lizzie, both have the first line, like really digging deep,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
like really crawling next to the toad under the rock and just letting it
yeah,
go wherever it wants to take us.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I
yeah.
love that, it's the fear of the unknown. The toad is the fear of the unknown. And of course I've got 48 in my purpose, which is just all about the unknown. And so that's where I've spent the last 2 months contemplating the unknown and the void of Gene Key 48. And I've got another month of it coming up, and it feels brilliant that I'm going to be doing it with Toad as my ally, on that journey.
Yeah, and the second, like the shadow for the second line in attraction is in Equitus. How do you pronounce it? In Equitasy?
Inadequacy.
In adequacy, yes.
Right.
A word I
Ah.
mostly read and not say out not say out loud. So again, it's the synchronicity is so brilliantly perfect. I love synchronistic signs, and life is full of them if we're willing to slow down enough to
Yeah,
actually receive those signs. It's really amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Esther has a whimsical question for us, and I know I brought a whimsical question. Who wants to
Yeah,
go
I've got one
first?
too.
Anybody want to go
I'd like to,
first?
yeah, I'd like to go first.
Okay.
Here it comes. If you were, like Richard Rudd, gifted with the activation of your DNA on its highest potential, like his 3-day awakening, what would you ask the universe?
Oh my God.
Wow,
Ah,
that's a great question.
that is
I
a great
think
question.
I would ask, oh boy, what what can I do? What can I be? What I want this to last forever. What do I do to help it last forever? You know,
Yeah.
because Richard, he had those 3 days and he went back to his regular life. And of course, I understand that the whole journey he then went through is what helped birth the Gene Keys book. But, it's so funny now I'm thinking about it. I doubt that that question would even come up because I would be so entranced with being in that present moment of allowing the universe to, be speaking through me, being in me. And anyway, that's enough of my answer.
Well, sticking with my theme of my question, I would probably ask what happens when I die.
Ah,
What happens,
yeah,
what is it like to die? To take away that fear.
that's a good
Yeah.
Yeah.
question. Did you answer
Yeah.
your question, Esther?
Yeah, it's because I kind of knew you were going to ask me about
Good.
answering my own question. And like talking about synchronicities, there's like this big spider, like the
Yeah.
animal related to my purpose now on my wall, like creeping just out of sight. Yeah, but the question I would ask, like, what is my greatest service to the whole?
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
delicious one.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like duh, because the whole pulse sequence is about it, but it is directly asked in Jinky 52. That's in my attraction and it's in my vocation.
Oh,
Jinky, I have said 52.6, so it is connected to my pathway of service. And
yeah.
I just want to devote my life and go through all the fears and struggles in service of serving
Yeah.
the whole. And yeah, what I love about the Gene Keys is that it gets out this guessing work but there's still a lot of guessing work in that, even
There
though
is.
it's very specific.
Yeah.
I would ask the universe, just like send me the way you want me to go. I'm like your ambassador, and I'll go there. And I put up with everything, just like knowing that it's really for a higher cause.
Yeah.
Because my human side can sometimes like feel that it's really overwhelming, like
Yeah.
speaking about the spider. It can be so daunting, like what is my greatest service to the whole? And
Yeah.
even if it's only in my own family life and friends, it's not only, it's like the entire world in that single moment. And yeah.
That's good.
Wow.
Good,
Yeah.
whimsical question. Did you want to go
Do you
next
want
or
to
do
go
you want to go
next,
last?
Megan? Oh, you go next, Megan.
Okay. I've got an easy one. We went really deep. Now we're going to go easy. You're at Hogwarts. You've brought your familiar animal, and it's a toad. What is its name?
Oh, this is a very fun question. Hmm. I would say it's just she, and she's called Gabriella.
Ooh,
No idea why. It just
it just came through. Gabriel
Gabriella the toad.
is a toad. How about you,
Yes.
Lizzie?
Well, I decided this morning on my walk that my toad is a grandmother because it does talk about grandmother energy. So she's just going to be grandma, grandma toad.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I am very disappointed that my familiar is a toad because I really wanted my familiar to be a cat. So I had to dress my toad up, and her name is Eloise. And she wears
She's
a
got
little
little
bow.
cat's ears.
Little cat's ears.
Oh, okay. So mine is I'm in a bit of the Harry Potter whimsy as well. But I was thinking about because the toad is very much associated with magic and witches. So again, I was thinking of, the toad being my familiar. And so your toad, Esther, and your parrot is your familiar, Megan.
Okay.
And our familiars can imbue us with a magical power.
Mm.
What would that? I know that we've talked about. I mean, we've talked about this sort of thing before because we are both huge magic fans and huge Hogwarts fans. So, what would what would the magical power that you're familiar imbued upon you be? Will I go
You want
first so you can think about it?
Sure.
Because I did think about flying, make me able to fly, but then I thought, no, what I really need is to be able to breathe underwater so that I can dive really deep and
I like
not have to worry about coming up for air. And I was thinking of the gillyweed
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Harry Potter,
Yeah.
that I don't need to have like a silly shark's head or my head inside a bubble. I just have the toad will just like
Give
kiss
you.
some air into me and I'll be able to breathe underwater.
Do you know yet, Esther, or do you want me to go?
Yeah. No, I definitely know my magical skill. I want to clearly being able to listen to my crystals and communicate with clear lines and with all the discernment that's needed.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, since it's a parrot and the parrot's gift is what it is, I think that the parrot would imbue within me a sense of magical. I don't know if empathy is quite the right word, but the ability to touch someone and have that, touch someone who's in distress and have them be able to, within that touch, to touch their fear and allow it to transform within them into its gift, into its celebratory gift, just with my
Wow.
touch.
Ah,
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool.
But I'd have to definitely also be imbued with the gift of knowing if the timing was right, because that's a really big changer kind of
Yeah.
event. So there has to be discretion involved with that gift. Yeah. That'd be cool. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation and for your telling us about your amazing week with this Change Your Toad, Esther.
Thank
And
you for having me. It's so surreal to be here live. I've like been one of your biggest fans in the podcast, and like just now watching your magic come alive live is just beyond real.
oh,
Really cool.
Oh,
Thank
oh,
you so
well, it's
much.
been great to have you.
and
What a
thank you.
celebration.
Yes, we're celebrating. We're celebrating our fractal magic, that age really, in one sense, age is just part of our reality. But in the other sense, we are speaking a language that is ageless. So it also makes our relationship ageless, you know. So anyway, thank you everybody for listening. And we will see you next time.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.